All right, let's have a listen to Jeremiah Smith with 10 TV's Adam King on these Buckeyes proving the doubters wrong.
We put in a lot of work with Coach Mig. We put in the workouts this year was harder than last year, I should say. They've been pushing us hard, because it's a new team. Everybody got new roles and stuff like that. But I just can't wait till the season starts. We definitely go put on a show. A lot of people have been doubting us. I've been seeing on Twitter and social media. So I can't wait to prove a lot of people wrong this year.
This is one of the absolute magical things that the Ohio State staff can do, Tim, and that it's a beautiful thing. That it's kind of like you ever see that movie Crocodile Dundee?
Yeah, of course. That's not a knife. That's not a knife.
Remember when he gets out of the car? There's the water buffalo in the road, and he does that little thing, and the water buffalo just falls over and sleeps. I think like Ohio State coaches do that to their players because who the heck is doubting Jeremiah Smith? Yeah. He's universally the best player in college football, but on every single, by any metric, everybody has him, that generational, all of it. Ohio State's going to start the year, no worse than third in the country, most likely second or first, is where they're going to start it. And yet somehow they do this every year. They're able to find these little kernels of doubt somewhere, and then they play off of it. Yeah. But the reality is nobody doubts Ohio State. Everybody expects them to be in the playoff. They're going to start the year in the top 3 in the country. He's the best player in the country. The best defensive player on the country's on the other side of the field.
Yeah, I mean, there's scorn about Ohio State, but you're not.
People might not like you.
Yeah, fine. People might not like you. That's just the fact of life, especially when you're king, when you're king of the roost. But the bottom line is they definitely have to respect you. And when you start off a game, the magnitude of Ohio State, Texas, and I say this, Beau, I would much rather see this game at the end of October than at the end of August, right? I mean, because that would be a true measure of what we're talking about here.
So I'd even end of September, I think, is okay.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even mind end of September.
But I'm just saying, it's going to be. They're going to be so much different. These teams are going to be so different than they're going to be that first day because there are so many new places being counted on to in big roles. But Jeremiah Smith, he just. The curious of us, or where are they going to take the next step? What's the next step for Jeremiah Smith in terms of involvement with the offense? And really, how much do you want him to be involved earlier in the year? If you follow my drift, because that 4-game playoff, man, is a march. And but there's so many things they can do with him because he's big, he's fast, he has a savvy for the game. His catching ability is par excellence. Like I've always said, he puts himself between the football and the defender better, as well as Chris Carter did. It may be, if not even better, in all kinds of ways. But you don't want to wear. You don't want to. It's like those red tires in a race, in Formula One or in IndyCar. You want to put them on for the final stint, not the
right.
You want to have those long-lasting tires earlier in the race. So how much do you use him really at the beginning, except maybe to dabble? And you're going to have to use him against Texas, but Texas found a way to take him away last year, or at least according to Ohio State, they did. Now you figure out a way to use him. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the thing this kind of goes back to that conversation we were having at the top with like the Texas Texas could come. Who knows what's going to happen in that game?
Right.
But here's the reality of it. It's not going to feel like it to anybody who's there. It's not going to feel like it to any of us out here watching. In reality, though, in this college football, and nobody wants to say this part out loud, but it's kind of the truth. It's kind of just a really, really high-profile exhibition game.
Yes, that's exactly
it. It is because it's the opener. And what you're going to be 12 weeks later, by the time you get to December, that's the team that matters. That's the team you're judged on.
Correct.
And so, to me, I mean, everyone's going to take it, everybody involved in it is playing to win the thing. But the reality is that for whichever team loses, and no matter the manner with which they lose, big or little or close, doesn't matter, you're not going anywhere. The loser of that game is going to drop at most to 8th in the country,
right?
At most.
Oh,
so there's no scenario where the loser there is cooked at all. And it's such a long road. I mean, it hits you. It hit you last year when you play a Rose Bowl and you go, my God, we got to play 2 more of these.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like this path is so arduous that it's really just a very, very high profile exhibition.
You just want the lead singers to make it's kind of like a band. You know what I mean? the Eagles without Glenn Fry and Don Henley, you know what I mean? They endured, right? And they brought, other guys came and went, you know, and many of them stuck around like Joe Walsh. But I don't mean to get deep into that analogy, but it wasn't the same band that started in like 69 and 70. And that's, you just want the primary guys. Like it was so major that Will Howard started every game last year because he got better as the year went on. Yeah. And to lose a guy like Georgia lost Carson Beck, you know, that was their whether you thought Carson Beck was on any kind of, you know, level that could take them to a championship, well, we'll never know, right? Maybe we'll find out this year with Miami. I don't think so.
Me either.
But you understand what I mean. It's so much luck involved, but also making sure the guys, the primary players in the band, are there in December. And I thought Ryan Day and his staff, I mean, you lose 2 starting offensive linemen. Are you kidding me? Last year. And yet you make the playoffs and win it with an offensive line playing maybe the best it played all year at the end of the year. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's a survival thing now. And that's going to be the needle that college football has to thread here, right? Because what makes it so special is that anything can happen on any given Saturday and that every game matters.
And any play, anybody can go down.
Absolutely. You can have an injury at any point. And so college football, with all of this thing that they're doing to create more and more revenue, they have to make sure that games like that one continue to be played.
Right.
Because that's really, you just mentioned that as a kid with Alabama when Nebraska would play. And there's the famous story about when USC came into Tuscaloosa and Bear said, bring them in here to see. And they beat them up. Sam Cunningham, wasn't it?
Sam Bam Cunningham.
Yeah. And so those type of moments,
that night it was Sam. That night it was Sam Bama Cunningham. Yeah. But it changed. It revolutionized Alabama football, because the next year Alabama had a couple of African-American players, but went to the Coliseum and upset USC by running the wishbone, just surprised them by running the wishbone. But, you know, these days you can't really do things like that anymore. You know, you can't necessarily surprise somebody. But, yes, those are moments, seminal moments, you know, in college football history. But right now, what Ohio State did last year, I hope people understand it. It's phenomenal. I know my friend Bill Rabinowitz has written a book. It's going to come out, pretty soon, just getting into the stories behind a lot of what went on there. And it'd probably be a pretty good seller because there were so many remarkable stories behind the scenes of the way that team came together and meshed. I mean, we just talked about it a while ago, the Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson chemistry at the end of the year was unbelievable. I owe a lot of that to those 2 young men. I also owe a lot of it to Carlos Loughlin, who came in, at the end of spring,
right? Yeah,
and became a coach that really was demanding of these 2 sort of semi-superstars, and that's just a microcosm of what I'm talking about, of everything that came right with that team as the year progressed.
Yeah, absolutely did. Second hour of the program coming up next.